21 and dropping it in the old kettle. What is an acceptable age difference? Now, for me personally, my wife-to-be is 11 years younger than me. Thank you. Thank you. Well,
many of you fertilize your own lawn. Hold on, I'm talking chemical fertilizing, genius. But be careful. But watch what happens when I stop at the location and then put the car into neutral. It goes backwards. I'm going up a hill in neutral. But easily the most famous of them all is good old intercourse. Now, who's the clown that named it that? Not sure, but guaranteed whoever it is dead. But they also caution you not to pick up a rattlesnake.
ow! Jesus, son of a... Ow! I'm off this week. That's why I'm actually laying here on the couch. But I want to at least check in with the Ganoza Knows It. You know, last week I got a nice visit from a lady named Barbara.
Knows it. Here's Al.
Forecast is calling for 6 straight days of 90 degrees or hotter. Ugh. But you know, we've had tougher stretches than that.
Ganoza Knows It. Here's Al.
Thank you, Steve. Today's Ganoza Knows It deals with a local phenomenon. It is called Gravity Hill, which you talked about, Steve, and many of the locals know about it, but it's also featured on RoadsideAmerica.com.
It's right off the Lewisberry exit of Interstate 83 in York County. I drove there myself, safely. Make a right onto 177, then take a right onto Pleasant View Road. It's actually at the stop sign, so you want to safely make a U-turn and come back to the stop. Let's look at it first. From both sides of the intersection, it appears to go downhill toward 177, then take a slight upturn to the stop. But watch what happens when I stop at the location and then put the car into neutral. It goes backwards. I'm going up a hill in neutral. I did it 4 times. 4 times. Amazingly, I did not get rear-ended or cited by police. Yet. Each time I drifted backward very quickly, even though, yes, it appears to be an uphill movement. So what gives? Well, the upward slope is actually an optical illusion. The stretch in question is sandwiched between 2 sharp inclines. The fact that it is a gradual slope the other way makes it look like it's actually uphill when it is in fact downhill. Either that or it's magic, or there's a ghost.
Thank you, Steve. Got a question from someone who wanted to know who the Weisenheimer was who named some of those villages in Lancaster County. I'd like to say Ganoza knows it for sure, but...
You drive through Amish country in Lancaster County and you notice the colorful names of the towns. Bird in Hand, Paradise. How about Blue Ball, which incidentally is named after a hotel. But easily the most famous of them all is good old intercourse. Now, who's the clown that named it that? Not sure, but guaranteed whoever it is dead. The name was given back in 1814, well before Dirty Minds became popular. One possible origin, there was a racetrack in the area, and the entrance to the track was called Entercourse, which later evolved into Intercourse. Another possibility, the town at one point was called Cross Keys, and that somehow was just a prelude to intercourse. One thing's for certain, though, lots of tourists come to Lancaster County each year looking for intercourse. And speaking of town names in Lancaster County, there is the burning question of, is it Kinzers or Kinzer? That depends on whom you ask. Let's check the maps. This one says Kinzer, but this one says Kinzers. So I went to the area to check for myself. This business says it's Kinzers, and so many others say it was Kinzera. All right, surely the post office will settle this once and for all. It says Kinzer, but hold on there, hold on. Looks like the S may have fallen off, or was it stolen?
I think there's a battle going on there for control of that name.
I think so.
And we all know that Sherry's a very big fan of Lancaster County.
So. That's right.
So, yeah, I thought you were going to say something else.
Right. Well, isn't there a McSherry's Town?
Al.
Thank you, Steve. It is widely known that Babe Ruth was one of the greatest baseball players of all time and that he spent most of his career with the New York Yankees. But did you know that Ruth spent a little time playing ball in Lebanon while also living and working in the city?
There apparently used to be a baseball field here at the corner of 3rd and Willow Streets in Lebanon. Now you will find the Lebanon Transit Bus Garage. But on this field, Babe Ruth practiced and played at least one game of exhibition baseball in September of 1918, right in the middle of his major league career. How in the world did that happen? Well, here's the story. The government decided earlier that year that Major League Baseball players would no longer be exempt from the effort in World War I. However, in lieu of being drafted, they could work at a business that supported the war effort. Bethlehem Steel was doing just that. So Ruth took a job there, supposedly as a blueprint messenger. Now, Ruth was not the only major leaguer to do so. Bethlehem Steel started teams at a number of its facilities and hired major leaguers to join them. They even formed a league that was loaded with talent. But Ruth's stay at this league didn't last too long. He joined Bethlehem Steel in September and reportedly left when the armistice was signed in November. But during that time, according to the Lebanon County Historical Society, Ruth lived at an apartment at 718 Chestnut Street. The VFW building sits there now, and at a residence on East Locust Street. I think this building is newer than what Ruth would have lived in. The Babe stayed in town about 8 weeks, and if legend is correct, he probably hit a few bars along the way and also met a few ladies along the way as well.
We can only assume,
Yeah,
He loves the Babe after
He
all.
lived a hard life.
given the Babe's track record. How interesting.